Today we're going to be painting using just one colour. We're going to be making a painting using lots of different shades or tints of that colour. Our learning intention for today is we are learning to paint using a monochromatic colour scheme. The success criteria for today are, I know what the term monochromatic means and we'll talk about that a little bit later on, and I can paint a picture using various shades and tints of the same colour. Now it is a little bit interesting, we're going to be using coffee today to make your painting, and also tea, depends on which one that you can use. You might be able to use both like I did. It's going to be an interesting activity, something that I've only tried with this particular video. So I'm sure it'll be quite a fun, and if not a little bit of a different kind of a learning experience for us. So sit back, watch the video and enjoy. The following pictures are just some ideas of things that you could do. You can see that there is this house that's been created and painted by using coffee with the tree and the different buildings. In this one there is that tree and then those beautiful sandy hills, kind of like a desert made with all different shades, and I've used that idea in mine, you'll see a little bit later on. And then finally here's some other ideas. Someone's drawn a fish, there's a cat made out of actual coffee rings, and then there's little spills of coffee that have been turned into balloons and parachutes. So you can see within the pictures that I've just shown you that they were all made with the one colour, but with lighter and darker shades of that one colour. So monochromatic colour means one colour with lots of different lighter and darker shades. That's what you're going to be using today, making coffee with lighter and darker shades. Now the first thing you'll see me doing here is I'm just testing out some tea that I've brewed. There's a tea bag in there with just a little bit of warm water. I've let it sit for a little while just to make it a little bit stronger. Now I'm making my coffee. I've put 1/4 teaspoon in that first one, half in the second one, and a full teaspoon in the third one. And now I'm just putting 2 teaspoons of warm water in each of those and giving them a mix around. So that makes the 3 different strengths of coffee that you're going to need. I'm just testing those colour strengths now. So that's the strong one, this is the middle one, and then I'll try the lighter one. Now I think it's a little bit too dark still, so I'll add a bit more water into it and that'll lighten it up a little bit further. Now you're going to need those 3 different strengths of coffee because they actually make the different shades that you will paint with. So the dark, the medium and the light. I've already drawn a bit of an outline on my paper of what I'm going to do. I'm actually making a landscape out of this particular piece. So you can see the tree and some hills and things in there. I've also drawn some clouds. So I'm just using that tea bag because it's fairly light, and I'm just using that to make the ground and some of the sky that's there. Now I'm going to use that first Q-tip there to outline the tree. So as you can see, I've done a little bit more with that tree. I'm still using the very light coffee there to start with. So just adding the foliage to the tree, adding a little bit more to the trunks and to the area behind the tree of the hill. So you can see I've done that area there of the tree. Now I'm using that middle colour of coffee, and that is going to make that middle section of the hill. So if you remember from the beginning where I said there was that desert, this is the idea that I'm using here, where I have that dark, medium colour and then light colour in the hills. So I'm just making this area in the foreground, or it's a little bit closer to the tree, the darkest coffee that's there. I'm just going to outline this tree a little bit more, and I'm actually using a stick this time because those Q-tips were a little bit too thick. So I'm using the darkest coffee here, and you can see I'm just again highlighting some more areas in the foliage and making it a little bit darker and making it stand out. Now you will have to add more colour to each of your areas, and that's what I'm doing here now. Just be careful not to rub too hard because you will put a bit of a hole into your work because it is wet paper. So just remember that. So I'm just making this area a little bit darker using that dark coffee, so my darkest coffee that I've got. Again, I'm just going over those hills to darken them up a little bit so that they stand out and they're a little bit more separate from each other. And now I'm beginning to add in some more detail on the clouds. So that's the area that I'd left white in the sky. So you can see just making those nice little kind of curly sections on the clouds. So I've just filled in a bit more on the tree again, made it a little bit darker, and you'll see in just a moment I'll get a piece of paper just to try and dry this off. Now you can use a piece of paper or you can use a hairdryer, which is what I did, just on low. So be really careful, ask mum or dad if you can do that first though. So as you can see, I've done a lot more work. I've filled it in, I'm just adding more colours and a few more details in there. Now I'm not expecting that you're going to be doing something like this. I want you to do your very own picture, but here's what I've come up with, what I've used, and how you can create all those different shades within your painting just using coffee by having those different strengths. So enjoy, have a great time, and post that pic so I can see what you've made.